As a small business, how do you adapt to massive disruption? Well, we've got disruption coming, and this is for small and mid-sized businesses, as well as the solopreneurs. We are going to see unfathomable change, transition, and beautiful opportunities. I'm going to tell you 3 different types of disruptions that are coming and 3 things that you as a senior leader need to think about. Stick with me to the very end, and I'll give you access to our course online on me. As entrepreneurs and business owners, we know that if we have a clear plan, anything becomes possible. And if you can have a clear plan, a clear process to create that plan, and a way to create clarity with your partner or spouse, you can drive to amazing heights. All right, so the 3 primary disruptions that I'm looking at that are coming around the pike. A, the one that everybody's talking about, everybody gets all excited about. I call it, it's not very politically correct, but I call it, it's like teenage sex. Everybody's talking about it. There's a few people doing it, but nobody's doing it really well. And that, of course, is going to be AI, automation, machine learning. The different types of adaptive tools that are coming. This is going to be massive. I keep reading and hearing over and over and over that the idea of AI alone and what happens with AI could be more disruptive than electricity or the steam engine. Think about that. That is huge. Now, the second one that's coming, and it's going to depend on what part of the world you live in and how much you're impacted by this, but we are looking at some incredibly big transitional financial times. There are those out there who feel we were probably at the lowest interest rates we'll see in a long time, that inflation is going to come in a variety of different tools. Some big things to think about. Number 1, during the COVID era, our illustrious leaders could have put all that debt into long-term infrastructure bonds. Instead, though, they chose to do short-term bonds, and all those bonds are going to start coming due. Those bonds come due, and the rate is going to actually increase by almost 4x in some of those cases. So the amount of debt that the government's going to have is just going to be astronomical. The wide majority of what we bring in is specifically just going to go to maintaining that debt. The other thing is that the primary source for a lot of the revenue, or excuse me, not the revenue, but just the straight dollars that have been in the system, have been the biggest boom, our biggest generation ever, the boomers. And the boomers are about halfway through their retirement, and these people are pulling their cash out. They are no longer contributing to it, so things are going to get tighter and tighter. The third thing, and the most important thing with this, is to start thinking about what are the geopolitical impacts happening around the globe with population implosions. If you look, you can look at China, Russia, Korea, or South Korea, or maybe not South Korea, Japan, Germany. All of these countries have an inverted population pyramid, which means they have fewer people that are going to be contributing to their growth. In other words, these countries are going to start to implode in all sorts of different ways. When you start taking these things into account, holy smokes, that makes things scary. But there's going to be some great disruption, and with great disruption comes great opportunities. So when you're thinking about what are the 3 things that we need to keep in mind in a very disruptive environment, well, number 1, you got to keep the trains running. Disruption is coming. It's going to happen fast. It's going to come really quick, but you got to keep the trains running, keep the doors open. But what you have to do is start looking as far downfield as you can. And what I mean by this is you have to start anticipating what would amazing look like with these new tools, with tools that we're not even sure exist yet. But if I could wave a magic wand, what is possible, and what would I want for my industry, and where would I want to see that down the line? So as an example, as a coach, what I do is very unique in certain areas. However, there's going to be virtual coaches. I'm sure of it. There'll be AI virtual coaches. Well, you'll be able to look, and you may not even know that it's not a real person. But if that's where we want to go, maybe we're not there today, how can we, in our middle horizons, we've got our short-term horizon of keeping the trains running, our long-term horizon of making sure that we're preparing and looking for and defining where we want to go. But the midterm horizon, this is where most people get wrapped around the axle. They get all freaked out. Oh my God, AI is going to take all the jobs. AI is going to take. No, AI is not going to take all the jobs, at least to start. It's going to change and have new jobs. But what AI is going to do is it's going to allow you to adapt. And what one person can do now could be what 100 people did 10 years ago. So it is going to change. And in some ways, it'll shift jobs in different ways. And there will be a slow adoption. It'll seem very quickly to us, but there'll be an adoption of what AI can do, and then it'll start to develop into other places, in other ways. So what I am really, really pushing my clients for is to think about what are the frameworks that you can create that can bridge that gap, that can take the tools and resources that you have today, the knowledge, the skills, whatever that set is, and identify sort of where you want to be. And then how can you start building a framework that can adapt very, very quickly? Because it's going to be the change in the development curve. That's what's going to get impacted the most. That's what's going to happen. Things will get faster and faster and faster and faster. So this is where taking the time, investing that time to step back and say, wow, what would amazing look like? How do we want to get there? What's its go? So as an example, 4B, as a coach and advisor, I have a course called The Aspiring Solopreneur, which this is the channel you guys are on. There's hundreds of videos, there's books, best-selling books, there's whole courses, everything that's online. I'm going to put all that into a repository. That's basically Ask Kluver the Solopreneur guy. And we're going to start with a ChatGPT that allows us to take all that content, and that's our middle horizon, while simultaneously be exploring what does it look like and how do we get to where we could have a virtual coach down the road. So now, if you're finding this interesting and you'd like to learn more about the Solopreneur, please go to aspiringsolopreneur.com, or actually click on the link below. And you know what? The first 5 to email me directly, the letter K at entadv.com, I'll give you the course on me. I'm just going to ask that you guys give a recommendation or referral if you liked it. Say, yeah, this was a good course. This was worth my time and energy. And if you have any feedback for us, we want to hear it. But with that, very grateful for you investing the time and energy. And remember, great disruption, great opportunities. Hopefully you found value with this. Keep smiling.